What's goody, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back. It is Hot Breath Live, your weekly comedy tune-up with comedians Joel Byers and Yoshi So. Sorry about him.
Hello.
But this is the weekly live stream we do on our YouTube channel where we answer your questions directly. So join our email lists and I'll send you a weekly reminder of this awesome meeting we do, all in the name of comics helping comics. And today we got a very special episode. Yoshi and I, first off, Yoshi, if you haven't seen his special yet on the Hot Breath YouTube channel, you got to go check that out. American African.
Yeah.
Go check that out. And also, I want to say congratulations to Hot Breath OG Bobby Sutton. She's going to be in Vegas.
Nice.
For the Kenan Thompson Pop-Up Comedy Festival. So anyone in Vegas, pull up on Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. That's very cool. Love seeing the Hot Breathiverse out here doing dope things. That's what it's all about.
I love that.
And speaking of Hot Breathiverse, Yoshi and I had a great show this past week at the new Helium in Atlanta.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Super dope. Several hot breathers. I tell you, there were several hot breathers in the building. I don't forget, but it's
sometimes
like when you
forget
when you meet, and when you meet people and they're like, oh my gosh, hot breath, it's helped me in X, Y, and Z, and thank you so much. And then you're like, oh yeah,
we've been out here.
We out here.
Yeah,
we doing things.
Doing things.
Yeah.
About once a week when I go to a open mic or something, I get a stop and people are, I haven't heard anyone say, hey, that Hot Breath Network, trash.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for a while. And the opportunities to say that are abound and plenty.
Mm-hmm.
But not once has anyone said that. All I've gotten is nothing but positive feedback about how much we have helped, how much resources that people have gotten from it. People listen regularly, which is freaking amazing. I get stopped and people are like, hey, that last episode, they'll ask more questions. I was like, yeah, of course I'll answer the question. So it's been awesome. Yeah. So that show that we did at the Helium was awesome. Lots of fans. Let's put it that way. Tons of fans.
Yeah. And I was talking with Daniel Delano, a comic who was also on the show this past week. He's been doing a lot of festivals this year. And he said every festival he's gone to, someone has asked him if they know Hot Breath because we're in Atlanta. So that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Actually, he said if they know Joel Byers, but I didn't want to make you feel bad.
Okay.
But it was Hot Breath.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
I didn't want to make you feel bad, so I decided to say it anyway. That's really what it was.
I'm completely good with it. Yeah.
But so I thought that was cool too, that a lot of people at festivals. So yeah, it's very cool to see it all coming together. It's so exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thank y'all all for listening and sharing it. And when you're out at shows and you're talking to other comics and you say, have you heard of Hot Breath? And you mention an interview or the live stream we do on Tuesdays. It all helps and it all adds up.
Yeah, it does. Yes,
so,
it does. And we're happy to do it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And as I have a child, I will be happy to do more. I'm going to lock myself in this room and never leave.
Yeah. I remember this one time Joel said, hey, you want to not do it on Tuesday? I was like, no.
No, yeah. You're like, no, this is my time.
No.
This is my time.
No. I not only do I enjoy this, it's also good. It's just good time. Sometimes you got to set precedents and let people know Daddy is busy at this time.
That's right.
No daddy questions. I'm a comedian right now. I'm going to do the comedian thing at this time. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
Oh, and we got some good questions already coming in the live chat here, but I did just want to shout out all the hot breathers we saw at the show this weekend and at Helium in Atlanta, which
Yeah.
amazing,
Amazing club.
amazing club,
Amazing.
amazing,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolute.
It's
The lineups coming through. I mean, anyone in the Southeast, not far from like the Atlanta area, it's worth driving in for. They're bringing in the heat,
heaters.
shouty,
Heaters.
the
Heaters.
heat
Heavy hitters. Yeah, yeah.
from the jump.
Some great people. And I think like, I mean, I remember like maybe like first week that was out, I was like, oh, okay, they've got a pretty solid schedule. And then like days later, that schedule has filled up. I mean,
Mm,
it's like
yeah.
weekend after weekend, a lot of one nighters as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that schedule is filling up. And so, yeah, here's the thing. I live less than 10 minutes away from that place.
Oh, that's
I think I've
beautiful.
I think I've literally been there probably like 4 or 5 nights since it's opened. But I
Oh,
like
that's
that because
beautiful.
I like hanging out at the comedy club. So
Mm,
before I had to like schedule out and ask for like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for the next 2 hours versus I'll just stop in for like a couple minutes and then go home, which is
that's dope.
awesome.
Yeah, just put your face there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
a great club.
I was gonna say, speaking of hot breath, I got to the next night after our show, I got to work with Moses Storm, who is a fan of hot breath as well.
Nice. You opened
So
that show? That's the show that you opened?
I did. Yeah, 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 yeah.
How was that show?
Oh, it was super dope. He's a wild man. You know, he's like he's if you remember my when I used to host the Java Monkey show on the coffee shop patio, and I just did
Yes.
a bunch of weird stuff and rubbed the walls and rolled around on the floor. He's like if I honed that and did it in a way that people actually enjoyed and it was entertaining and not like a mental breakdown. Like I've been a fan of Moses for years now, and his special he has an HBO special called like Trash White,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah.
incredible about his story of growing up homeless and dumpster diving and
Yeah.
all that funness he found humor in. And just to say, he opened up the show. He somehow ended up with an audience member's shoe, and then he put a cheese stick in between their toe and took a bite of the cheese, or he acted like he was going to take a bite. I don't think he actually took a bite, but all that happened, and these were like rich. They were on the front row. These were like rich whites that you would
Favorite
not
kind of
expect
whites.
to go
That's my
with it.
favorite. That's my
Yeah,
favorite
that's
kind of
my
white too.
exactly. That's also why I like Helium because it's in a rich part of town, and that's my audience. But they were down from the beginning. Like he went weird from the jump, and they followed him the whole way, and he killed. He did
Sure.
over an hour. Yeah, so it was really cool to watch and just see the freedom on stage. And it's a good reminder for all of us to remember that this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
I always have to remind myself of that. I mean, even in my set list, I write "have fun" in it like I keep thinking, oh, I gotta get this joke, and I want to try this new tag, and oh my gosh, the booker's in the back of the room, and I gotta, and then
Yeah.
but you gotta have fun and remember
Gotta
to
have.
lead with that intention, and just to see Moses embody that and make that like that's like his brand of comedy is you don't know what you're gonna get, but you know it's gonna be fun and funny and an adventure, and
Yeah.
it's just inspiring to see it done at a high level.
Yeah. He's got a Robin Williams-esque like character to him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is just fun to see because there's not a lot of those really around either
Mm-mm.
from a stand-up perspective. So it's definitely like a refreshing thing to watch. Yeah, I've watched the special as well, and I was like, oh wow, like and my thought, I was like, that is a lot. Like it's he's doing so much. In my mind, I was like, how are you not tired? You know what I'm saying? Like that just looks exhausting. But you could just tell he's having such a good time. And everything flows, and which I truly like
Yeah.
appreciate. It's like, oh, all this is like work. He's working all these bits and they all like come in and out. It looks like it's improv, but it's like oh, this is very much owned jokes, and I love that.
And that's why in Conan, he's one of Conan's favorite comics, and like Conan's given him a lot of shine on his show and stuff, just
Yeah, I
because
think
of
Conan
that. He's such a
produced
unique
that special.
voice.
Yeah, I think Conan produced that special.
Oh, he did. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Mm-hmm.
which is that's awesome. That's a nice little executive producer tag that you can have.
Yeah, so
Just
definitely
Conan O'Brien.
go check out Moses Storm. His specials on HBO, and you can watch clips on YouTube. And he's done several late nights and things like that. So he's
Yeah,
definitely one worth checking out. We talked about doing the interview. We just did it. We couldn't make it happen.
yeah,
It didn't happen. The time, it just wasn't the right timing. I propose. Um, it just it just life. I can't just
You can't
go.
force.
Like I can't just go. I can't be like, oh yeah, I'll just be there. And I have like this family situation where I have to be around and accountable and write thank you notes to everyone that bought us all gifts off our registry, which we're very grateful for. So it was a lot of there were family things I could not avoid to then
Yeah.
go. But
Hey.
yeah, timing. I'm still grateful we got to hang out. I'm not as thirsty anymore, which feels good as well. Of like, I gotta make sure I get this interview with this person. It was more about just connecting with him and hearing him say such nice things about the show and us kind of nerd out about comedy together
Yeah,
and
that's
such.
awesome.
So that connection's worth more than trying to force an interview at this
For
time.
sure. Yeah. Well, congratulations on the show, man. That's awesome. So you did two shows at the Helium. Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And I saw Chicken Joe Clark ask if they give out of towner spots. Not with that name. Not with that name.
I don't know how it works when it comes to out of town comedians. I've not seen.
They're doing an open mic every week now, but I don't know the sign up process or any of that.
Yeah.
But that's probably your best bet.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one of the things about especially a club like this is they're just starting out. So I don't know how much leeway they've got for stuff. And I'll tell you just from a in town perspective, there's so many in town comedians that are like on the shows right now, which is awesome because you can see like the headliners are appreciative that the club has features and openers and things like that. But I don't know the out of town sort of drop in process.
Yeah, I don't either. They've been open literally maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're
exactly.
they're just kind of getting up and running and ironing out the kinks and stuff. But it's definitely worth at least going visiting. You know,
For sure.
my comic to watch of 2024, Caitlin Palufo. She'll be there at the end of December. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but she is.
Yep.
If you ever see her anywhere in your area, you gotta watch her. She is lights out. Just
hilarious.
It's awesome to see and depressing. Of like, oh, you can be that good? No,
It's incredibly
no.
incredible joke writer and just a force
a
of
tour de
nature.
force. It's like a hurricane when she's up there. Just
yeah. She's like Tasmanian devil when it comes to stage presence, dude.
All killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler.
Yeah, lights out.
Yeah.
So let's get into these questions here. And if you are watching live, do hit the like button on these live streams. Let's get the algorithm going here. Okay, let's get into it. Hot Breath Verse. We got here together. We're gonna get there together.
Boom.
Ooh, we got here together, and we're gonna get there together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, bars.
That's
bars.
Bars. Thank you. Oh man, I have a feeling that's loud, and I'm sorry. Podcast.
Great.
That was very loud.
Chicken Joe Clark actually said that there's a group of his that watches this show together, which is awesome.
Oh, in Houston. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's
awesome.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
I'm sorry I roasted your name.
comedy.
Yeah.
We're still gonna roast you. Thank you, but
All
we're still gonna
right.
do
Yes.
it.
So yeah, hit the like button, share this on Reddit or social media. Let's start building up this show here. Our wives greatly appreciate you. And the first question I'm seeing here is from Mike Betancourt, and he asks, "What is your favorite notepad to write on?" So, if y'all don't know, we nerded out about pins last week. We went in deep on pins,
Deep,
and the
deep.
analytics reflect that. But if you know, you know, Shouty, and we appreciate y'all that nerd out on pins. Honestly, my favorite, I just use, like, my daily use is like a composition notebook, basically. I mean, it's
Mm,
just like one of those kind of black and white speckled composition books. I do have a kind of a quote unquote fancier journal I will journal in, but that was like a gift from my sister-in-law. But in my day-to-day like joke writing, it's in like a composition notebook. And also when I go to shows, I use like a smaller notebook that I can fit in a pocket. Right now I got like a pack of like the moleskin kind of uh not fabric, paperback ones.
yeah,
They're just mobile, they bend, they're durable,
yeah.
and I'll just do my set list in there, and I use the Zebra F301. That's my go-to at showtime, unless I'm feeling
Nice.
fancy. But
Okay.
I don't like uh, one thing I did recently. Sam Altman. Wait, Sam Altman. Yes, the OpenAI guy, right? That's Sam
Yeah, yeah,
Altman.
yeah. The
Sam
CEO. Yep,
Altman. I thought it
yep,
said Sam Walton, which I think is the Walmart guy.
yep, yep, yeah, yep.
But I just saw a clip with him talking about his favorite notebook, and he likes the spiral notebooks because they'll lay flat.
Mm.
And because there is something with when it's not spiraled, it does kind of like plump in the middle, and it can be kind of hard to get in all the way on the page. So there may be some to the spiral I need to revisit.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite notepad. My thing, I definitely write a lot on like I would say are like the index card notepad thingamajiggers. I write a lot of my set list on those, like just like little index cards. I write my
Oh,
set
okay.
list on those things. But when it comes to like actual like jokes and when I write, I've been in marketing for so long, so I just have this collection of just tchotchkes and old notebooks from old companies. Like I think I have like a Cialis notebook or something like that. I
Right,
don't
right, right,
know what
right,
else
right,
you
right,
call it,
right.
of just like random stuff, but I just have them. So I would just use that notebook, write like the year on it, and then write jokes for this year, and that's what I'll just be writing in. So I usually try to separate out new jokes for different years, and that's like the only process that I have. But I write with anything. It doesn't matter. Like I don't have like a favorite feel of a notepad, but I'm just all the notebooks and I have tons of notebooks that are just random from every conference that I've been in, all these places that give you free stuff, like from these different companies. Some of them are still
Right.
around, some of them are not still around. And I'm just like, oh, what is this company? No idea. But they gave me a notebook at a conference in Louisiana one time. That's what I'm using.
Yeah, I got when I worked at the hotel when I refilled mini bars, a lot of the people that were there for conferences would leave all that kind of stationary stuff in the rooms when they
Yeah.
left. So
Yeah.
I have a collection of those as well, of all those different,
Yep.
like a
Yeah.
free notebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has in the live chat favorite notebooks, but that's kind of the the go-to. I write in a bigger one, and then I'll take a smaller one out to
For sure.
shows. And
Yeah, that's what I do too. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been
I have a
using Notion more too.
I've been Notion freak, and I have
Yeah,
a separate notepad. But yeah, yeah, I've been Notioning it up lately. Like it's been
yeah, I
helping
have
me
two.
organize.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got like an old note. I use this tool called UpNote because when I got it, it was like cheap, and it just has all the notes. I imported all my stuff from Evernote because I was a big Evernote person until they
Mm-hmm.
started charging like way too much money, or at least for me. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just use this, and it organizes all my stuff. It's how I wrote the special. It's how I organized the special. Um, and that's
Oh,
been,
UpNote.
yeah, UpNote.
Oh,
So
interesting.
good.
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just a very like it's a minimalist. So I've been just trying to watch or like find like minimalist stuff because I realize I get way too distracted if something has too many features. And this is just notes. I was like, just notes, organize it in notebooks and tabs, and it just does exactly what I need it to do.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've not heard of that one. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of. I mean, yeah, we can all get lost. It's kind of like what you're going to use. We can
Exactly.
all get
And that's what
lost
I
in it.
found is that I was using so many different things. And so I imported everything into UpNote. I was like, no more, all the notes go in here. And then I use Notion just to organize my day. So it doesn't, so I've separated out my
Mm.
notebook from like my daily task and things like that.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I've been testing Notion for like daily writing tracking as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
It's kind of
That's
because
a
the
good
whole
idea.
goal of this cohort I'm doing Sunday is basically helping comics develop a daily writing habit that they take into 2025. So I'm trying to think of
Awesome.
all the different ways. It's like, oh man, what would help me? Like
Yeah.
what would help other comics? So I'm trying to put together like a Notion template for students as well to
Yeah.
kind
Notion
of
is
check
great.
in and organize your jokes and kind of check off the day like Seinfeld's how he has that don't break the chain strategy
Yep.
where he puts an X on a calendar. It's kind of the same premise. So
Yeah. I like that.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's whatever y'all are gonna use is really the best. But
That's the best.
the more accountability, the better to actually show up.
Boom.
Oh, and Alvaro said Calmly Writer is another one.
Nice.
FTW. Notion FTW? What is FTW?
For the win. Basically, they're
Oh,
saying
okay.
it's a good thing.
Feel like an old man. What's that FTW? What's that FTW?
Yeah. I have been so thoroughly impressed with Notion. It is just good. I mean, I think I
Mm.
used it at first to organize, like I actually use it to organize my produced stuff. So I have a database of all the comedians that I use, and I've got them literally tagged by the types of jokes. Are they clean? Are they dirty? Can they do this kind of room? How many minutes I'm comfortable with them doing? And then that's how I go through and organize who I want to put on a show. So I've got that
Yeah.
all organized in Notion.
Yeah, we talked about that with our AI episode with
Yeah.
Mike Tedasco, which if y'all have not heard, you got to go listen to that podcast cuz that was a banger. And we did a live
Er,
writing session with
yep.
AI and that was a winner for sure.
Yeah.
Gosh,
So
we
good.
putting out yeah, I know. It's like it sometimes we forget we're doing so many cool things helping comics that we forget until we meet y'all in person and we're like, oh, yay. We
Yeah.
appreciate the gratitude.
Yeah. I
So,
like that.
speaking of, let's get to other comics questions here. We just nerded out. We almost just made a whole other episode about stationery again. We were last week was about pins, and now we're like, what about stationery? Maybe we get into card stock,
Yeah.
different weights of paper. So, Daphne Steinberg can potentially triggering comments like, your body, my choice, be spun to be funny in any way, like joking about a cat and your face. I would say,
Yes,
I mean, I think anything can. I think you can really spin anything to be funny if you can pull
absolutely.
it off with the right skill.
Absolutely. I mean, I think anytime you hear things like that, I think it's always funnier to take it to a direction that people are not expecting it. Um, and I think that makes for a much more comedic, because at the end of the day, comedy is about surprise. So obviously, some people might think you're going to go a certain way. So when you would surprise them with a different avenue, that's what the open mic is for. Try something that you see with your body, my choice. See all the tags or see all the things that you want to write, and see how it works in front of a real crowd, and then go play with that later again, listen to it, and see if you can find some more tags, see if you can find some more ways. I mean, just just the way that you wrote the joke, your body my choice, with a cat and your face, that feels funny already. Like, I'd
Yeah,
love
and
to see where that goes.
I think as long as it's not like just making sure it's anytime you're trying to do a joke that could be potentially controversial or whatever, it's just making sure you're not punching down,
Boom.
and that's a great
Yes.
kind of way to ensure.
Yes. Yeah. And I warn comedians against this. Like, um I sometimes feel like we get caught up uh in watching some types of comedians, like the Kill Tony like universe, that are
Uh-huh.
very like, I mean, I'll say that it's like very mean, it's very like just negative a little bit, and it's very much like an ode to how much can I say to get away with it. But I'll also say, like, if you start writing that way, that becomes who you are. And you're just not going to get booked a lot unless you have a fan base that is okay with that type of comedy. It takes people a while to be like okay with that level of comedy. And as Anthony Jeselnik once said, if you are mean and you don't get away with it, that means you weren't funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the master. He says very dark stuff and he gets away with it. A la, that's why he's able to keep doing it years after years after years. If you don't get
Mm-hmm.
away with it or someone calls you out for it, that means it wasn't funny and it wasn't great writing at the end of the day.
Yep. And it's always great. I mean, especially younger comics, it's kind of you may aspire to tackle these taboo topics or to be edgy and whatnot, but it is very valuable to kind of learn the rules before you break them. So how can you make, the weather funny, or how can you make a joke about your dog or your job, and kind of less edgy things, but just learning how to make certain things funny before you try to tackle these big topics. You kind of got to learn the technique and then you can apply it to these bigger, higher concepts. But it just takes time.
It takes time. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there is a whole movement with Kill Tony and comics outside of the context of Kill Tony. Comics
Yes,
still think that it flies, and that Kill Tony is it's its own. I mean, they sold out Madison Square Garden twice. I mean, it's its own like world, and outside of that world, all that offensiveness can be a little divisiveness, if you will.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. And if and the reality is, if you're trying to work regularly as a comedian, your Kill Tony set that only people at Kill Tony love isn't going to work at every club. And not every club is going to book you because of that, unless you can pull in your same audience. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, unless you
just
have the
know,
audience, which yeah.
unless you have the audience, then you write the same rule. You write your rules the way that you want. But if you're just starting out and you're doing that kind of material, it's just really hard for it to be like massively appeal to a lot of people.
But you do you, boo. We're not telling you the right or wrong way, just kind of giving you
Yeah, we're just giving you some advice of
just some
what we've seen. We've
professional
been doing this
advice.
for a hot minute now, and
Yep.
we don't saint it. We saint it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Which actually, speaking of getting booked, Chicken Joe Clark asks about EPKs. What should comics not leave out of an EPK?
Uh, that's a good question. I can tell you what you should put in an EPK rather than what to leave out.
Right.
In every EPK, you want to put yourself a bio. That's important. Images of you currently, how you look is also important. Do not put images of you 10 years ago unless
Mm-hmm.
you look very close to that now, right? Like when people, I've seen it where people would put old pictures of them damn near 20, 15 years ago, and they get to a show and people are like, who is that guy? So unless you mix it up, make sure you put like current pictures of yourself. Not, it doesn't have to be like weeks ago, but like 6 months or like even a year is a good. So put pictures of yourself. Put links to your actual sets, whether they be short, long, preferably short. The majority of people that are looking for set list are looking for anything 5, 7, 10, 15. That's typically what they can tell. And then if they ask you for like anything longer, then you send it to them. But if you've got a 5 minute, a 10 minute, and a 15 minute, that's typically enough for people. Uh, you still there, Joel? And
Oh
then
yeah.
yeah, the other thing I always say is also like reviews and or what people say about you is also a good thing to put on there as well. And then what's the last thing? I'd probably say any kind of links or your like social links or social media and a way to contact you. Those are the most important things to put on your EPK. Oh,
Yeah, and I
nice.
was just pulling up mine
Yeah, there you go. I
just to
see you,
show,
Playboy. I
but
see
it's
you,
like,
son.
so mine has like my contact and name and title and like kind of a bio and a
Yeah,
review from a past company, and then I'll share this more with like companies and such.
for
I
sure.
don't.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like I don't. It's not like I'm sending this to a club or whatnot. I guess it
Yeah,
doesn't hurt
yeah, yeah.
if you
But
have an
club
EPK.
clubs EPKs are usually different. Like this is a very corporate EPK where club EPKs
Yeah.
they want to know what other clubs you've worked at, right? Like they're
Yeah.
looking more for like validation. Oh, have you done this in other places or in other spots similar to ours? So that'd probably be the only difference. But what you have is a great starter for anyone, even if you just have those elements of your contact information, a picture of yourself, a bio, what other companies you've worked for, a review section, and then, as I say, the testimonials or validation of who you've done this for.
Yeah. I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about an EPK though. I don't. I can't remember the last time someone was like, "But do you have an EPK?"
For
type
sure.
deal.
Yeah.
Um.
Typically, you should be asked for an EPK. Don't just have it just to have it. You should be asked for it and then go get it done.
Yeah. And there's templates on Canva you can kind of follow and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And I've
Kind of
done
plug and
EPKs.
play.
The only time I was probably say the only time I've really submitted one is for corporate gigs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that's why I have. That's why I have mine.
Yeah.
So, next question.
Good question though. That was a great
That is a good
question.
question, though. Yeah, we haven't gotten asked that one in a while.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's a great question, though. Definitely like a little professional polish
Yeah.
for you to have in your back pocket when someone asks for it.
Yeah. I would also say if you can put an EPK like on your website or
Mm-hmm.
on somewhere that people
Right.
can just easily get to it, that's also a good look for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a really good point. So the next question I'm seeing is HS3 comedy winner. When is the OG reunion show happening?
We got to work on that.
Yeah, yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like that.
We don't know. We don't know.
We
That's a
don't know
good question, though.
yet. Yeah,
But that would be
we'll see
fun.
if we can. We'll see. We'll put it out there. We'll see maybe if the Helium Comedy Club will let us do something like that. That'd be super fun
That
at
would
a
be
spot
dope.
like that. Yeah, 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 yeah,
That would be super dope. Yeah, that's
yeah.
definitely something we can plan for 2025 for sure.
I like that.
We've kind of only done one hot breath event in a sense. I mean, I did like a hot breath meet up in LA and the Joke Doctor came out and we did
Session.
like a live write 10 where people wrote and then went and performed the joke and got feedback from the Joke Doctor and me.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun to do. We did that at Flappers in Burbank, and then people got COVID, so it was a success all around. It was a success all around. Just like 15 people in a super tight room, no big deal. Fortunately, everyone was okay, so I can make the joke. But at the time, I was
Sure.
like, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?"
For
But
sure.
I remember
For
comic drove from like Vegas to be people drove from all over, from like Oakland, like people really showed up for it. So
That's awesome.
it's
Yeah.
definitely
I
something we
mean,
can do
you
in
showed up for it. And
2025.
that's what you get. You get COVID.
You
That's
get
you came for
COVID,
jokes. You came for jokes, but you go away with COVID. So
the gift that keeps on giving. Next question I have from Beardo asking if I've considered naming my child Remorse. That's funny. Like buyer's remorse.
that's hilarious. That
That's
should be your
pretty.
next special. Buyer's remorse.
That's That's pretty
Solid.
good.
Pretty solid stuff
Uh,
right there.
and Eric Hansen asks if there's any tips on finding and honing your style.
Mm, that's a deep one. Uh, I'd probably say once you, I think one of my favorite things to watch comedians do when I see them figure out like a style that they have is to just double down on it, right? Like I'll gloat about a comedian who I'm a big fan of in town. His name is Lanny Farmer. Lanny Farmer is very has a style about his comedy, but he digs into it. And every time I've seen him, and I've actually like had him on many of shows of mine, and to watch him just dig into that style is like my favorite thing because you've seen all the work that he's done like over the years of just owning that style. And he's a very much like a one-liner comedian, and that's his style, and very dry and just like delivers the jokes, but it's so funny. So to answer the question, it's just do it more and dig into it once you find what you like or what you enjoy. It's just do more of it as much as possible.
Yeah, it's really like, well, one, talking about topics that you enjoy talking about, that you have fun performing, that you're naturally interested in, that you're naturally curious about, that you naturally find funny. So starting from that natural intention will help
Yeah.
you to deliver your jokes more naturally. And it's picking up on stylistically, it's over time picking up on what the audience is enjoying about your performance. So if you do facial expressions and you find people are laughing when you do facial expressions, it's doing that more. I know, for example, with Jeff Foxworthy, when he was on the show, he like because he'll in his delivery he'll kind of go up like this, and I asked him about that, and he said that just kind of evolved organically. That he noticed when he went up and pitched like that,
Yeah.
people started to laugh more. So
Mhm.
just doing a lot of shows and starting to pick up on these little nuances that the audience was reacting to, he then started to develop his style around that feedback he was getting from the audience. So now he's almost known for that high pitch, but it all started with him doing it on stage a little bit here and there, and then over time just making it a part of his act. So just, yeah, being aware of when you review your sets or when you're on stage, if they're laughing at certain moments, and
Yeah.
try to do more of what evoked that laugh from a delivery standpoint, and your
Yeah.
style will evolve from there. But
Yeah.
start with material that you enjoy performing and you enjoy talking about, and then that'll start to help you deliver more naturally as well.
Yeah. And when you start out as a comedian, it's also important, like when you're keeping a notebook, like take notes of what you find funny. Like, take a note of the things that make you laugh. And I think that's an important factor to figure out, oh, what your style is. Like, if you find something that someone says funny, like, jot it down and be like, why did I find that funny? And try to remember, okay, there's something about this that I find funny. And like, making a note of what you find funny and what sort of uh, is your funny style helps you also deliver in a better way and helps you deliver the way that you want to, because you're like, oh, I like when someone does that thing in comedy, or I like the way that that person delivered that joke. So yeah, along with writing your jokes down, also like take note of what you find funny as well. Is super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question though, there, Eric. Yeah, it's an evolution. For years I just did one-liners and I was very just monotone and didn't even think about the delivery, and it just kind of evolved over time. But it's interesting, with their people are already thinking about these things now. When early on, now
Mm-hmm.
there's so much information out there about comedy that younger comics are now trying to do all these things that older comics. Well, I guess I am kind of an older comic, but like when I started, there wasn't. It was kind of like, all right, you just grind for 10 years, then you film a special, and you go from there.
Yeah,
But now it's like, it's the
the
Wild West,
rules.
and
The
comics have a
rules.
bigger growth mindset than ever, which
Absolutely.
I envy in a sense. I'm almost like I've been conditioned to feel like I have to grind until I hate myself and then an opportunity magically appears. But younger comics are like, no, we're going to go out there and make our opportunity. And I really, I don't, I mean, I'm in that mindset now, but it is something I have to be intentional about, as it's just the norm for comics nowadays.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
it's a
The
very exciting
game
time
has
for comedy.
changed. The
Yep.
game has changed.
Yeah. It really has. Oh, and Bobby said we did a sold out Hot Breath show at the Hicksville that she put on.
Mm.
Yes, we did. I guess I was thinking about like meetups or whatnot, but yeah, an actual live show we did. Yeah, Bobby put that show on with Joyce, which was very cool to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for that reminder there, Bobby. When we do an OG, Bobby is front and center there
OG.
for sure.
OG.
Triple
OG. OG.
OG. Yay, yay. Wait, what's goody?
Angels on y'all.
That's Bobby's sound effect there. But I guess we should
Angels on y'all.
there's Bobby. Oh, we got one more, and then maybe we should land the plane.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got one more, so if y'all haven't already, hit the like button on this video, share this on social media. Let's really start getting these numbers up on these live streams. And your homework for this week, go tell one comic at an open mic about hot breath. That will be your homework this week, kiddos. Because we're going to
Yeah.
spread the hot breath verse one comic at a time.
Yeah. And then if you can get in 2 questions, tell them to go watch my special.
Yes. Good point. On the Hot Breath YouTube channel, go watch Yoshi's special for sure. Probably more importantly, they should go watch Yoshi's special. That's a good point.
For sure. Yeah, we getting out there, man.
So Dubs General asked, do you ever feel like you're just always on go, never really getting to your end goal? Does that cause you to be discouraged? So you're just always on go?
Yeah, just feel like you're just always hustling, but you're not getting to your end goal. And does that discourage you? I had a feeling this one would stop us in our tracks. Good question, Dubs. Good question. I would say the answer is sometimes you have to be reminded that your end goals can change. And even if you're not getting to them, is to enjoy the journey of what you are doing and to be gracious and I don't know what the word is, but like find some gratitude in the everyday stuff that you're doing with comedy. I know when I started, it was always about, I got to get on TV. I got to do this. I got to do all that other stuff. And now I just like to work, man. I like doing shows. I like doing corporate gigs. I just like the ability to be able to get up as often as possible. I like going on the road. And that's finding more of those opportunities is what my goal is now. Yes, I have goals of doing more specials. Yes, I have goals of, opening for a big time comedian. All those things are still on the goals list, but I'm not going to stop. I think for me, the biggest thing is I'm not going to quit. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
goal. Don't quit. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but that's for me
That's what
is
yeah.
sort of the driving force.
I tell myself that in the mirror every day. Don't quit. Don't quit. Oh, and we got a team of tips saying hi from Russia in
Hello,
the live
what's
chat.
up?
We out
What's
here.
up? We are out here.
I think when I do feel that stress
Mm-hmm.
or discouragement, I should be X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
It's all it it all comes down to whenever I feel that way, I'm focusing on something I can't control. So
Boom.
that and
Boom.
I've gone up and down and all around about this. I mean,
Yeah.
more lately than ever, honestly. With a kid on the
Yeah.
way, I'm like, do I want to be on the road? And then during the pandemic, I
Yeah.
was like, do I even want to do comedy? It's like, it's been up and down a lot. And it all comes back to focusing on what I can control. And that old saying, get better or get bitter. And it's really whatever's with your control, just focus on that and just keep trying to get at least just 1% better every day. It's just like, how can I get 1% closer to whatever that goal is that you're discouraged about not getting to? And
Yeah.
it can also help to have a goal. A lot of times, and I'm guilty of this as well, I'm frustrated about something that I'm not even like working towards or like, it's
You're like,
I'm
yeah, yeah. I've seen this with many people. They're like, get mad that they didn't get into a festival. And I'm like, did you apply for it? They're like, no. It's like, what?
yeah. Or I'll see I'll see a comic like doing a cruise, and I was like, oh man, I want to go be stuck on a boat for 4 days. I was like, no, you don't like. It's but it like there's that instinct with all of us, like, but I got to be doing everything too. But it's
Mhm.
really just that self awareness and just focusing on what you can control and being honest with yourself about what you want and what you don't want, and being okay with that. And
Absolutely.
it. I will say this is something comics go through at every level.
Every level.
Every level. I mean, I know there's a lot of younger comics that listen, and you may think that this is something that gets better with time. I mean, we've talked to a lot of comics that have been doing this a long time, and
Yep.
they're all trying to figure it out and piece it together, and we're all still trying to figure it out, and there's highs and lows to all of this for everyone. So
Absolutely.
the best
Yeah.
advice, focus on what you can control and just be grateful and try to get 1% better every day. Get 1% closer to whatever that goal is. Just that
Absolutely.
incremental effort really has a compound effect, which is why on like a less like dramatic level, just writing. So many people don't write every day because we're overthinking the outcome of it instead of just seeing the success in the process. And
Boom.
sitting down and just setting a 10-minute timer and just moving your pen for 10 minutes, that can
Absolutely.
be
Yeah.
daunting when you feel like you have to sit down and write you got to come up with something brilliant. No, 90%
Yeah.
of what you write is nonsense and will never see the light of day.
You will never see the light of day. Yeah. It's
And
just,
that's everyone that
yeah.
goes through that.
You have to fall in love with the journey. The journey is the thing. Like, just doing the work is the thing that'll keep you motivated. The
Mm-hmm.
outcomes and the sets, those are things that you have no control. You have no control over who's going to book you, but you do have control over how many open mics you do. You have control over how often you write. You have control over how many times you record. You have control over how many things you put out there. You have control over all those things. Work on those pieces more than anything else, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, and it's a marathon. It's easy with, especially now with social media and people seemingly blowing up overnight, which some people are. I
Yeah.
I can imagine there's a lot of pressure there as a younger comic. They're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this 3 months. Why am I not famous yet? It's a marathon for the vast majority of you out there. It's got to be a marathon. You're not necessarily going to win the lottery and just blow up overnight.
Yeah, for sure.
But
You're like, oh, I did this TikTok dance and it got 1 million views. I put my stand-up special and it got 4. Welcome
yeah,
to the world.
I'll post a clip and it'll get 100 views, and I'm like, never mind. So many times I've been like, this is it. I'm posting
This
every
is it.
day until we on, fam. And then I'll
Yeah.
post like 3 days in a row, and then that's it. So
Yeah. And I mean, even from everyone, a lot, I would probably say the majority of the people that we've interviewed have said that the thing that blew up was never the thing that they thought was going to blow up. It was just the work. They were just trying stuff out. You know what I mean? They were just putting things out there, and they had no control over which one of these is going to blow up, but it just did. And you never know what's going to resonate with people, but they were just putting stuff out. They were just doing the work. They were like, okay, I'm going to just try these and see what happens. So, yeah, control what you can control.
yeah. So yeah, social media is one example of that, but just the question I think was a little more in general, just the highs and lows of this comedy game. It's just
For sure.
yeah, it's a marathon. So just I like to focus and think the higher the highs or the lower the lows, the higher the highs. So I like to think when I'm at a really low point, I see it kind of as like a trampoline to where I'm really low on the trampoline and it's about to shoot me back up. Or it's like a slingshot being pulled really far back, and then you're about to be like catapulted further than ever. So I like to approach the highs and lows with that mindset. And the community helps too. I mean, being a part of the Hot Breathiverse, being in the Facebook group, being a part of these live streams and connecting with us and other comics in the live chat. It's all that community aspect in your local scenes as well. Having a support around you to really voice these feelings and realize you're not alone can really help to persevere as well.
Boom. Boom.
Yep.
Bow.
Oh, and Devin Verma asked if I'm saying to write for 10 minutes without a goal in mind instead of writing with the goal of making a joke. Should I just free write? I think
Either one.
Yeah.
Either one.
I was thinking more of like writing focused on the process and not the outcome. So
yes,
the success is in starting. The success for me is when I actually sit down and set a timer and actually just start writing. And all of my writing starts with journaling. I don't sit down and go, I'm going to write a joke now. I always journal first just to kind of get the juices flowing, and then we'll go into material and kind of start working on material that way. I just kind of ease into it. It's not like an on-off thing. I kind of have to just warm myself up into it.
Yeah. I mean, journalist key. It's the artist's way. If you've ever read The Artist's Way, it's about just writing like 3 pages before you do anything else, or just getting stuff out. But yeah, journaling is very, very helpful. And it's less pressure than trying to write a joke too. You're just putting whatever's in your head, you're just putting it on paper.
Yep. It's a great starting point. Yep. Starting's the hardest part with all that, which is why I'm doing this writing cohort starting on Sunday. That if you want to apply, I'm only going to let 7 people in. If you want to apply, it'll be linked in the show notes.
Boom,
and
bow.
It's also in the live chat for people in the live stream here.
Boom,
they want first
bow.
dibs on that.
Yep.
Well, we should probably land this plane. We have gone over, but we appreciate everyone for hanging out here. This was a good one. This is
What you got coming up? What you got coming up?
What do I have coming up?
Yeah.
Nothing. Yep. I have a baby coming up.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
I'm going a fundraiser for the Pediatric Cancer Foundation.
Awesome, man. That's sweet.
So I've done some work with them for the past few years. So I'm doing
That's
that.
awesome.
And yeah, I mean in December I've booked a few things locally, but
Yeah.
I haven't booked anything on the road cuz I don't anything could happen really between now and when I would hate to be in a Hampton Inn in the middle of nowhere and my wife's
Sure.
like, "Oh, it's happening." And then
Yeah,
like I can't be accessible, you know.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, cool.
But what
Uh
about you?
I've got Tampa Bay. I said Tampa Bay. Tampa, Florida coming up. um I'm featuring for the homie, the hot brethren, Adam Mueller at
All
Sidesteppers.
right.
All right.
That's Adam Mueller.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be out there Thursday through Saturday. We got a couple shows doing that, and then next weekend I will be um, local at the Lawrenceville Aurora Theater as well.
Let's go. When is that?
Nice, Aurora Theater, Lawrenceville, Georgia, with the homie Big Kenny.
I've done that show up there with him before.
Yeah.
That's
With
a
the homie
killer.
Big
That's an
Kenny.
awesome show.
Yeah, it's a fun set. And then at the end of the month, also doing a show at downtown Duluth, Georgia, at EOP, opening for Karen Mills, who is an
More
opener
That's awesome.
for what's her name? Morgan. What's the female comedian country?
Leanne Morgan.
Leanne Morgan.
She opens up for Leanne Morgan. Yeah, Karen
Leanne
Mills,
Morgan.
right? You said?
Yeah, Karen Mills. Yes. Absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah,
So
very
doing
fun.
that at the end of the weekend, and then I've got my monthly show at the beginning of December. So yeah, I've got stuff coming up. Super excited about it.
Yoshi out here working.
We
very
out
exciting.
here, man. We out
And
here.
Elliot
Yeah.
Ryan just sent a super chat for the diaper fund.
No,
Oh, that was so loud. I'm so sorry,
So-
y'all. I could tell how loud that
So
was. I did it again. I'm sorry. I need to turn down that horn sound effect at the very end. But yeah, anyone in the Tampa area, go pull up on Yoshi and Adam. That is a hot breath lineup right there.
Yeah,
So go show
that's gonna
love
be
to the
super
homies.
fun, man.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's land this plane. Yeah, feel free to reach out to us with any questions, of course. Go join our email list, or I will send you updates on these weekly live streams we do, and I send out another email with a fun overview of all the hot breath happenings during the week and all that fun stuff. But we're out of here. We love you all. Remember your homework. Go tell a comic at an open mic this week about hot breath, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
And tell them to watch Yoshi's special. Boom.
Yes. Hot breath. We love you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
We done did it.
Bye.